The following is a Comfortably Zoned Radio Network production.
Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant good evening to you wherever you may be. This is Comfortably Zoned Radio, and it's time for Dodgers baseball, a tale of two cities from Brooklyn to Los Angeles. My name is Peter Trunk, and my co-hosts are Fred Wallem and Ron Rabinovitz. Fred, how you doing?
Very warm here in Southern California, and we can talk Dodger baseball, east to west, west to east. Can't wait. Let's go.
There you go. Sounds good. Ronnie, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Yeah. Just
how's the weather in Minnesota? How's the weather out there in St. Paul, Minneapolis?
It was 75 degrees today.
Oh, that's nice.
It'll be a little over 80 tomorrow. It'll be nice all week.
You know, not unlike Fred suffering through the heat in L.A., here in New Jersey, it's been not only hot and it's been humid, but today we got a break from the humidity, so it was regular hot, I'll call it, quote unquote.
Okay.
Regular hot. Whatever that, whatever that means. It doesn't mean too much. I wanted to start the night off talking a little Brooklyn Dodgers and a little free association. I was reading last week about the 1947 World Series, of course not for the first time, for about the 5,000th time. But anyway, I was 1 year old when the 47 series was played, and of course I don't remember a damn thing about it. But in reading about it all these years later, well, Ronnie, you were only 2, so you don't remember it either.
I was 2, yeah.
Right. But anyway, reading about it, the first thing that jumps right out at you is it's the first World Series with a black player. Okay? So that's huge. To me, anyway. To me, that's huge. Jackie Robinson actually played in the World Series, and it was really, really cool. And it was also the first World Series. I was unaware of this until recently. It was the first World Series that was televised.
47 was?
Yeah, 47. First World Series that was televised.
I wasn't aware of that.
Crazy, huh?
Huh.
And Red Barber, well, let's talk about Joe DiMaggio first. Joe DiMaggio called the 1947 World Series, all of his life, from 47 on, he called it, quote, the most exciting World Series ever played, end quote. That's
47.
Yeah, he said that.
Okay.
Not only did he say that in 1947, he said it all the way up until his death. He said, in his opinion, the most exciting World Series ever was 1947. And you know something? Red Barber did not disagree. Red Barber, who was, of course, the radio voice of the game's golden age, swore he'd never witnessed such unlikely highs and lows. A time when stars became the supporting players, while the journeymen and the scrubs and the substitutes played the hero, or GOAT, or both. There's a few names I'd like to mention. One of them is Bill Bevins. Bill Bevins was the Yankee pitcher, and in the fourth game of the World Series, he had a no-hitter with 2 outs in the ninth inning. Those were the days when pitchers were left in no matter how many pitches they threw. And Bevins had walked 9 guys, and he was still in there in the ninth inning. God only knows how many pitches he threw. But the Dodgers got a base runner on a walk, and then they pinch hit Pete Reiser. Pete Reiser pinch hit for Eddie Stanky with 1 out, and they actually sent the runner, and he stole second base. So the runner at first base had stolen second base. Now he's at second with 1 man out. And Bucky Harris, the Yankee manager, did something. The score was 2-1 New York, by the way. 2-1.
The final?
New York. With a no-hitter.
Final?
No. 2-1 New York. No. No,
that was the final.
Makes it so great. This is what makes it so great. Okay? The Dodgers steal second base. Now they got a man at second base with one out. And Bucky Harris, the manager of the New York Yankees, did something that no one ever does, in that he gave an intentional walk to Pete Reiser. Pete Reiser pinch hit for Eddie Stanky, and the Yankees wanted to walk him. They were unaware. This shows you in 1947 what people knew and what they didn't know. Pete Reiser had a cracked ankle. He actually had a broken ankle.
Jeez.
Somehow he walked up to the plate without limping, and he was walked intentionally. And Bucky Harris put the potential winning run at first base to set up the double play. And then the Dodgers pinch hit for Eddie Stanky with Cookie Lavagetto. And Cookie Lavagetto at this time was past his prime, was 33, 34 years old. He was really washed up, very, very part-time player. And Bevins went to work on him. The first pitch was a fastball that he swung through and missed. The second pitch was high and outside, and he lined it to right field over Henrik's head in right field, and it hit off the wall. And Mixis, who had pinch run, scored the tying run. And, the runner at second scored the tying run, and Mixis, who was at first base for Reiser with the broken ankle, scored the winning run. And the Dodgers actually won 3-2. And Red Barber went crazy in the booth. I have recordings of it. And he said something along the lines of, I'm not going to try to imitate him, but my best recollection of Red Barber, and this is paraphrasing, no hits by Bevins, 2 outs, last of the ninth, the pitch to Lavagetto, swung and a miss. Fastball was in there, strike one. There's the pitch, swung on, belted, it's a long one to right field, it's over Henrik's head, and it's up against the wall for a base hit. Here comes the tying run, and here comes the winning run. And they're beating up Lavagetto. His own teammates are actually beating him up. The Dodgers won the game 3-2. It was the most exciting finish to a World Series game. This was a no-hitter, and not only did he break it up, but he won the game. It was just incredible. Absolutely incredible. And 2 days later came a second spectacular play when Joe DiMaggio was up, and Brooklyn was holding on to a thin lead, and DiMaggio hits a towering drive to left center field that Al Janfrido, who was a bench warmer for not only the Pittsburgh Pirates but the Brooklyn Dodgers, went back and made a spectacular game-saving catch. And it was the only time that Joe DiMaggio was ever filmed showing his dismay by kicking the dirt around second base after Janfrido made the catch. And if I may, I'll do another Red Barber imitation of the play. Outfield deep, around toward left, infield overshifted, there's the pitch, swung on, belted, it's a long one, deep to left center, back goes Janfrido, back. He makes a one-handed catch against the bullpen. Whoa, doctor. And these two guys, Janfrido and not only Bill Bevins, the pitcher that lost the no-hitter, but Cookie Lavagetto and Bill Bevins and Bill Bevins and Al Janfrido never played another inning of Major League Baseball after this World Series. Never, you heard me right, never played another inning of Major League Baseball after the 1947 series was over. It's amazing, but it's true. And that's a great, great trivia question. Anyway, the Dodger manager was Bert Schotten. And Bert Schotten was the guy who Branch Rickey got to take Leo DeRoche's place. Leo DeRoche was suspended in 1947 for actions unbecoming a Christian or whatever the hell it was.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
we do some here. Anyway, Bert Schotten, who was the quiet man, and they called him Cobbs, K-O-B-S, kind old Bert Schotten. And Bert Schotten actually was a center fielder for the St. Louis Cardinals back in the teens. And guess who was the manager of the Cardinals back then? Branch Rickey.
Really?
In 1915, Major League Baseball players were asked to vote for their all-star outfield and infield and pitcher and catcher and stuff. The only one I'm interested in here is outfield. They took a vote, and Major League Baseball in 1915 rated, this is hard to believe, rated the top outfield in baseball as Tris Speaker, all right, Ty Cobb, and Bert Schotten. How do you like that?
Yeah.
Okay, that is a wow. He stole 40 bases 4 years in a row. Bert Schotten did. And you might read stories about him. They call him Barney. Barney was his nickname. There was a guy named Barney Oldfield back in 1918 who was the first guy in America to drive, first guy in the world to drive an automobile 60 miles an hour. He drove a car 60 miles an hour. So he was the fastest thing going. So, of course, because Bert Schotten was so fast, they called him Barney as a nickname.
Barney.
And one more thing I want to say, and then I'm going to shut my big mouth. I thought this was really cool. We have grown up all of our lives, all three of us, hearing that spring training in Florida is called the Grapefruit League.
Right.
And we probably never wondered why it was called the Grapefruit League. Because let's face it, it's Florida. Grapefruits, Florida, the Grapefruit League was a nice nickname. But that's not the way it came about. In 1915, the Dodgers had a manager named Wilbur Robinson. They called him Uncle Wilbur. All right, Uncle Wilbur Robinson was so entrenched in the Brooklynese that the writers used to call the Brooklyn Dodgers the Brooklyn Robins. They actually called them the Robins because of Robinson. Okay? So, anyway, one spring training down in Florida, Robinson bet his players, he was the manager of the Dodgers, he bet his players that he could catch a baseball out of an airplane. It was dropped from an airplane. He said, you guys are horrible. You don't know how to judge fly balls. He said, I could catch a baseball out of an airplane. And the player said, no way, Skip. You can't do that. So he hired a woman, okay? He hired a woman who was known as Florida's Fabulous Feminine Flyer. Her real name was Ruth Law, L-A-W. And she was an aviator. And she was going to fly a plane over the Dodgers spring training field and drop a baseball from 500 feet. And Wilbur Robinson said he would catch it. Well, all the Dodger players bet, most of them bet against him. And Law left, when Law was housed in in like a Holiday Inn or whatever. Back then there was no Holiday Inns, but she was in some crummy hotel or whatever, and she left at the appropriate time that her agent told her to leave. This was all set up with the newspapers, and she left her hotel and went to the airfield. When she got to the airfield, she noticed that she had left the baseball back in her room. So she said, what am I going to do? I have to be there in 5 minutes, and it's X number of miles away. I got to go. So one of her ground crew gave her a grapefruit. Said, here, drop this. It doesn't matter. She took a grapefruit with her up in the plane. She flies over to Dodgers Field, and she drops the grapefruit, unbeknownst to Wilbur Robinson, who thinks it's a baseball, and he staggers underneath it, and as it hits his mitt, he actually catches it. Actually, as it hits his mitt, it explodes into pulp and juice and everything, and he thinks he's dead. He thinks the baseball has pierced his chest and that this liquid that he's feeling on him is blood, and he thinks he's dead. All the players are laughing like crazy. He screams out, "It's killed me! It's killed me!" Once his players finished laughing and collecting on their bets, they told everyone they knew. And Florida's spring training schedule became the Grapefruit League.
Huh. I'll be darned. That's so.
How's that for a story? That's interesting. I thought that was extremely interesting.
Hey, and let me just say this: there's a big ad every month in Baseball Digest, and it's a company called Direct, and I've got nothing to do with them, but it's called Direct to Sports, and what they have are all the radio broadcasts of all the great games in history since radio came into existence. So
really,
if you want to hear the 47 World Series or any other series that was on the radio, you go to Baseball America and Direct Sports, and I think it's $19.95 per game or whatever it is. But the point is, I find that most intriguing. And I mean, you're trying to imitate Red Barber, but if you really want to hear Red Barber, you can go to them and hear the actual broadcast.
Right. Well, that'd be amazing.
You know, you can find that's very interesting. But you can find every one of them for free on YouTube if you look them up.
Is that right?
5 years ago, that wasn't true, but now it's true. You can get many, many, many recordings of Brooklyn Dodgers and World Series games, not only Brooklyn Dodgers, but Yankees, anybody, on YouTube, and they're for nothing. And you could buy the DVDs and the CDs on eBay for like $19.99, but there's no reason to do that. I have them all. I bought them all like an idiot, but now they're all for free. You can load them off of YouTube. One more thing, Ronnie. I know you're rolling your eyes and you're saying, "When is it my turn? When is it my turn?"
No.
No. On May, just one more thing about Algie and Frito and how innocent America was in 1947. Okay? In 1947, Jackie Robinson starts with the Brooklyn Dodgers, and there's a whole shitload of Dodgers that don't want to play with him. The racists from down south. They don't want to play with Jackie Robinson. Okay? Right. So on May the 3rd, 1947, the Dodgers trade 5 guys. Most of them, not all of them, most of them pissed off because they feel that they're being forced to play with a black guy. They trade 5 guys to the Pirates. They trade Kirby Higbee, pitcher, Dixie Walker, the outfielder, Cal McLitch, a pitcher, Gene Mauch, yes, that Gene Mauch, and Hank Berman, a pitcher. And the Dodgers get Gianfrido and $100,000. Now, if you don't think $100,000 is a lot of money in 1947, look it up. It's a lot of money. Here's the catch to the whole trade.
Yeah.
Gianfrido tells the story. He goes to catch the train from Pittsburgh to Brooklyn with 2 suitcases. One suitcase with his clothes and his toiletries. The other suitcase with the $100,000 in cash.
No, in
for
cash.
Richie. That's how unsophisticated America was in 1947.
So
he brought the $100,000 in his suitcase with him.
In that suitcase.
How do you like that? Is that great? Is that fantastic? That to me
unbelievable.
That to me is mind-boggling. I love it.
It is mind-boggling.
Now, Ronnie, I'm going to shut my big mouth. You could talk about the Brooklyn Dodgers. Then we're going to involve Freddie. We're going to talk about the Los Angeles Dodgers. Okay? Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Ronnie.
Okay. I thought I'd pick Duke Snider. He was one of my favorite Brooklyn Dodgers. He was born in Los Angeles, and he was nicknamed Duke by his father at the age of 5. Growing up in Southern California, he was a gifted all-around athlete. He played basketball, football, baseball at Compton High School. And he had a strong-arm quarterback. He was a strong-arm quarterback who reportedly could throw the football 70 yards, which is something. He earned a trial with the Brooklyn Dodgers during the spring training in 1947. He got to bat in the opening game on April 17th and hit a single. He played in 39 more games that season and became a friend of Jackie Robinson's before he was sent to the St. Paul Saints team in early July. Snyder returned to the Dodgers at the end of the season in time for the World Series against the New York Yankees. Snyder, after spring training with the Dodgers, started the 1948 season with Montreal, and after hitting well in that league with a .327 batting average, he was called up to Brooklyn in August and played in 53 games. In 1949, Snyder became a regular major league hitting 23 home runs and 92 RBIs, and helping the Dodgers win the World Series. He also saw his
win the pennant, not the World Series.
Right. No, the pennant, right. That's what I meant. He also climbed his average from 244 to 292, and he had a pretty good season. That lineup was power-laden, which boasted players like Joe Black, Campanella, Billy Cox, Carl Erskine, Carl Furillo, Gil Hodges, Jackie Robinson, Clem Labine, Pee Wee Reese, Preacher Rowe. Often compared with two other New York center fielders, both also fellow Hall of Famers, Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays. He was the reigning Duke of Flatbush. He sure was.
Yep.
In 1950, he hit .321, but his average slipped to .277 in 51, off 44 points from his previous mark. Snyder caught the brunt of the sports page blame when the Dodgers squandered a 13-game August lead to finish second to the Giants after Bobby Thompson's shot heard around the world. I went to O'Malley and I told him I couldn't take the pressure. I told him I'd just as soon be traded. I told him I figured I could do the Dodgers no good. The trade never happened. Usually,
but wait a minute. The trade, of course, never happened. But right. It was definitely reported upon in the sporting news, where the Dodgers were going to get Andy Pafko from the Cubs and send Snyder to the Chicago Cubs. And do you know who Snyder replaced in center field when he came up in 48, 49?
Who?
Carl Furillo.
Carl Furillo.
Carl Furillo was the Dodgers center fielder.
Really? Huh.
Yep.
I'll be darned.
Yep.
So
you know his original?
They didn't trade him. Yeah, go ahead, Fred.
Do you know his original first name? His real first name?
Edwin.
Edwin Duke Snyder, 100% correct.
Right.
When he came out here, he tried to show off his arm, and he tried to. And of course, the Coliseum, his first 4 years in LA with the Dodgers, the left field was very, very short. He tried to throw the ball from home plate over the left field wall, the place where Wally Moon hit all the home runs. He hurt his arm trying to do that.
Really?
He was my hero because I told you that story many times. My dad put me in front of a TV set and Snyder hits a home run next pitch, and so I've always been a Snyder fan. In fact, I've got a picture as I do this show. I've got a picture of Duke in front of me, but he led the major leagues in home runs in the 1950s. Of course, he had those 5 years of consecutive years of 40 or more, so it was unbelievable. And as you indicated, that lineup was just totally
just powerful.
With power.
It was some lineup, man, oh man.
And Hodges is still not in the Hall of Fame, and it's because
which he should be.
So many Dodgers have made it, but many people have said that the Dodger clubs between, let's say, 50 and 56, would be among the greatest baseball teams of all time, but the only World Series.
I agree.
They won.
I agree.
In that period, so they were very unlucky in the World Series. And as indicated earlier in the 47 thing, they could have won it, and they could have won a lot of the series, but they finally did with Padres win the 55, and they lost to 56 with Larson's a perfect game. And, of course, then they come out here and they win in 59, 63, and 65. So they won their share,
right,
but maybe not as many as that talent would indicate.
Right. They were something. Yeah, unbelievable. And between 1953 and 56, he had a heck of a season. I mean, he was like hitting over 40 home runs. Between 53 and 57, he really was doing well. It was terrific.
But you know,
so I'm glad they never traded him.
The interesting thing is, I find it interesting anyways, I've got a very good friend named Andy Maddock, who's one of the great sports collectible guys in the country. I mean, he knows more about it, and that's his business. If you got a Snyder, let's say rookie card, or Snyder, whatever you want to say, now it's worth like 1/5 of what a Mays or a Mantle, and Mays isn't worth, like 1/5 of what a Mantle is worth. And and I think the Mays Mantle thing is a racial thing. I'm not sure why Snyder, who was very, very talented indeed, Willie Mickey and the Duke, his card is just not worth anywhere near the same value as the other two.
Really? Huh. I wonder why. Huh.
And I mean, there are, a whole slew still alive of Brooklyn Dodger fans, and so I feel that it would be close to the Mays, not to the Mantle. The Mantle is something special, but I figured it'd be close to the Mays because I got a whole slew of them in the 50s, but they're just not worth that much versus the Mays and the Mantles, and whatever reason that might be, it is the case. But the Duke could do everything, as you indicated. A great all-around athlete from Compton,
great all-around,
California, great quarterback. He could play every sport, and he did play every sport. And then, of course, he became the Duke of Fallbrook, and after being the Duke of Flatbush. So
right.
He was the Duke forever, and for the first couple years when the Padres came in existence in 1969, he was the color commentator for KSNG 540 in San Diego with Jerry Gross doing the Padre games. And I like Duke so much that, again, I love Vin Scully, but I swore to you, if it was a choice between listening to Snyder or the Dodgers, I would usually listen to the San Diego broadcast just because my Duke was doing color.
Yeah. He was good at that, too. He was very good. Yep. He had quite a career. So that's about our Duke.
That's our Duke.
Yeah.
That's our Duke. Duke of Flatbush.
When Snyder tried to throw the ball out of the Coliseum, he hurt his arm. And, as Freddie mentioned, he was also caught. By that I mean he was fined heavily by Bavesi. Front office found out about it and fined him.
Yeah, oh boy.
He not only led all the major leagues in home runs in the 50s, he led all the major leagues in runs batted in the 50s.
Yep, he sure did.
Yeah, he was something else.
Did he throw that ball over the wall?
No.
No, he didn't.
Out of the stadium. He didn't make it.
He didn't make it.
They gave him like 3 tries. He was betting his teammates. He was betting his teammates that he could do it, especially, as Fred indicated, Wally Moon, because he said, your home runs are a bunch of bullshit. I can throw the ball over that. In fact, I can throw the ball out of the stadium. And they all bet against him, and he threw 3 balls, and one of them, as legend has it, almost went out, but did not. And he injured his arm, and, through the gossip grapevine, he was caught by the front office and fined. In fact, there are photographs of Snyder with his right arm in a sling. He hurt his elbow trying to throw the ball out. But he was my boyhood idol. I loved Duke Snyder. I wore number 4 in everything that I did. I still use number 4 as all kinds of things in my life, even to this day. Number 4 is special to me because of Duke Snyder. I met the man a few times at baseball card shows and stuff, and he was quite a guy. Quite a guy.
Yeah, he was.
He used to say, I'm a high ball drinker and a low ball hitter. that was his line. I used to laugh.
Fortunately, the final team in his major league career was the San Francisco Giants in 19.
Yes,
San Francisco Giants, yeah.
Heartbreaking.
I think one season, right, Fred?
Yeah, 64, and he wore number 28. I have no idea why he wore number 28. Of course, he couldn't wear 4 because that was Mel Ott.
Yeah.
And the Giants had retired it, but still, 28 was weird.
Yeah.
When he got traded to the Mets in 1963, Charlie Neal was already a New York Met, and Charlie Neal was wearing number 4, and he wouldn't give it. He wouldn't give it to Snyder. Snyder wore number 11 as a Met. Only after the Mets jettisoned Neal did Snyder switch to number 4 as a New York Met.
And do you know who Vin Scully's favorite player of all time was?
I think it was Willie Mays, wasn't it?
Nope.
Duke Snyder?
We just mentioned his name.
Duke Snyder.
Nope. He was a Giant fan. I'll give you a hint.
Huh.
We just mentioned his name a second ago.
Willie Mays?
Number 4, Mel Ott.
Mel Ott. Oh, sure.
Scully's favorite player of all time.
Yeah, well, Scully, he tells the story, and he tells it very, very well, about being a schoolboy walking down the street, and he looks into a store window, and they had the World Series score, and the Yankees had beaten the Giants 17-4, 1936, and he felt bad for the Giants, so he decided to become a Giant fan that very day, right on the sidewalk. And he was a Giant fan, and he did tell Willie Mays during the final year of his broadcasting career 2 years ago, he said, Mays, you were the best I ever saw, but you played for the wrong team. He had to say that because of all the years with the Giants. Right. Anyway, those are the stories about Brooklyn. Let's move out. Let's move 3,200 miles out, for me anyway, out to where Freddie is sitting. And let's talk to Fred about the 2018 Los Angeles Dodgers. They lost today. They got shut out by the Cubs 4-0. They left 1 million men on base, as they usually do. What's the deal, Fred? What are your feelings?
Well, again, I think the big story today was that with all the injuries that they've had, Chris Taylor hurt himself. His hip or lower part of his body in some case, and they've had so many injuries that it's almost hard to believe. But there's injuries all around baseball. So I don't think you can blame that. But the Dodgers just a month ago were 10 games under 500. Since then, if they're 5 games, they played 15 games over 500, so they're like 5 games over 500. They're going to win that division. If Kershaw's going to pitch in the minors Saturday, and then next week probably he'll be with the Dodgers again. But again, they don't necessarily have enough pitching with all these injuries. Stripling has been a total surprise. He's been shocking to me because he doesn't overpower anybody, but he's very accurate with his pitches, so that's a definite win. Walker Buehler was doing very, very well until he hurt himself. I don't know when he's coming back. Ryu, injury prone. Maeda has not pitched well at all since he's come back. So they really, Hill pitched well yesterday in the second game of a doubleheader. Folks, we're talking on Tuesday. We're doing this on Wednesday, so we're talking on Tuesday. Hill pitched well, but he didn't win. But again, you can never tell when a blister is going to pop up. I don't think, and Friedman basically has said this, the president, that they're not going to make a deal for a pitcher, but they could use one. They could use a second or a third starter, I think, because you never know. Again, and 2 years ago, Kershaw missed 10 weeks. Last year, I think he missed 4 or 5. This year, he's missed 4 or 5 or 6. So, I've got a spine problem, lumbar stenosis. I know if you hurt your back, you hurt your spine. Sometimes you can't even walk, and there's Kershaw trying to throw 95 miles an hour. So that can pop out at any time. But with all that said, guys, they'll still win the division.
Okay. I like your optimism.
I like
your optimism, especially when I see.
too.
Especially when I see the bases, maybe not full, but 2 men on base, and you look into the dugout and who's Robert's going to send up to pinch hit, and out comes Valera, and I turn the TV off and go walk the dog because I know nothing's going to happen unless the pitcher throws a wild pitch or balks. The Dodgers' injuries definitely have played a part.
He was dropped to the minors.
Definitely have played a part. There's no doubt about it.
Valera
but
was up to the minors today, so you don't have to worry about that anymore. But the one advantage they have over most of the other teams in baseball, they've got 4 or 5 guys who can play 4 or 5 positions.
Yeah, they
yes,
do.
they do.
Hernandez can play anywhere in the outfield. He can play shortstop, second base, third base, first base. Even Bellinger can play first base anywhere in the outfield.
Yeah, and Muncy.
Center field, or he can play center or left and right. His arm's good enough to play right. You've got 4 or 5 guys on this. Chris Taylor, started as an outfielder.
Yeah.
Digger's hurt, so he's a shortstop. They've got 4 or 5 guys who can play a lot of positions, which gives Dave Roberts a lot of room to maneuver.
I like that.
It's like today, Peterson didn't start, even though he led off yesterday's first game with a home run. But a couple of days later, against a lefty, he doesn't even start. But there are games that, Puig's not going to start. There's games Kemp's not going to start. They got a lot of guys who can play a lot of positions.
They do. They do.
Yes, they do.
I was disappointed 48 hours ago when I saw that Kelvin Herrera was traded from Kansas City to Washington.
Yeah.
I thought the Dodgers not only could use him, but he would have been a godsend for the Dodgers. And then I later, adding insult to injury, read that they were heavily invested in trying to get Kelvin Herrera. And they were one of the final teams down to the wire, and they chose to make the deal with Washington. But
okay, but let's say they make the deal. And I think we talked about this last week, if I'm not mistaken. You have Kenley Jansen, one of the best in baseball. He's not about to become an eighth-inning guy. And Herrera is not about to become an eighth-inning guy. I don't care what Robert says to him behind the scenes. In their heart, they both want to be the closer. It's going to cause dissension on the club. If Jansen has a bad streak, they're going to say, okay, put Herrera out there. If Herrera has a bad streak, some of the guys are going to say, put Jansen back there. I'm going to ask you guys, would that be worth it to cause internal problems or dissension on the club?
In the long run, no. In the short run, yes. If they had gotten Kelvin Herrera, they could have played this, in my opinion, and I could be wrong, they could have played this at least to the end of this season back and forth and not pissed off to a degree where it would be detrimental to the team. Going forward from there, yeah, you'd have a problem because they both want to be the man. But 2 men can't be the man. Only 1 man can be the man. But to get Kelvin Herrera now, circa July 1st, it would have been unbelievable. It would have been unbelievable. You wouldn't have to worry about Baez or some other clown coming in to protect a 1-run lead or a tie game. This guy has a whip under 1. Herrera has a whip under 1. 0.76 or something like that. The guy's tremendous, at least this year. And they definitely could have used him. I was disappointed. When I saw the first few words of the headline, KC moves Herrera, I jumped. My heart jumped. I said, "All right, the Dodgers got him." And then I saw he went to Washington. I said, "Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy." Horrible.
If I'm not mistaken, they gave Jansen a 4-year, $80 million contract in the last offseason. And as you know, Friedman is not, and the Guggenheim is not willing to throw away money. So to cause any kind of dissension where Jansen doesn't pitch as well because either he's not the ninth inning guy, or he is and he's feeling the pressure, then you've blown $80 million, and the Dodgers aren't about to blow $80 million.
Well, what you do, in my opinion, is after you get Herrera, you bring him into the manager's office with Friedman and Robinson and whoever else you want. You can even bring Magic in there. I don't care. And you sit him down and you say, listen, we don't even want you next year. We want you to get us to the World Series and win the World Series. And in order to do that, you're going to have to pitch the eighth inning for us. And that's what we want you to do, and we're going to pay you very, very well to do that. And then you can make your own deal, and you can tell us what the deal you want in November. But you're going to get us to the World Series, and you're going to win the World Series and get a ring pitching the eighth inning for us. That way you don't piss off Kenley Jansen, and you win it. This guy is untouchable. He's untouchable. He's not good. He's not very good. He's untouchable this year. That's my opinion.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying. I in my heart, I don't believe they were as close to getting him as the papers indicated. I just don't believe that they really were pushing that hard, just for the reasons that we talked about. Jansen's a very emotional guy, and if you notice at the beginning of the season when he was getting bombed, he was really getting bombed, and since then he's been almost unhittable himself. I'm not arguing Herrera might be the better of the two, but I just don't think the Dodgers would make a move like that. I just think hopefully they're too bright to do something like that. I don't know. I mean, again, a lot of it's luck. I mean, they bring Kemp back to trade.
Yeah.
You bring Kemp back just on a money thing, and they're going to release him or trade him.
Agreed.
He ends up the best hitter, one of the best hitters in baseball. Don't tell me Friedman knew that. He didn't. Nobody.
Agreed.
Did.
Agreed.
So, I mean, a lot of it just pot luck, but my gut feeling is they weren't as close to the closing the deal with Herrera as people indicate. At least I don't believe that.
Well, by third-party indications, not Washington and not Los Angeles, but by third-party, and by that I mean like ESPN and MLB TV and stuff like that, they all said that the Dodgers were heavily into the negotiations for that trade. But, that ship has sailed, and now we have to look forward. We can't look backward. We can't say, oh, what are we going to do? We have to plan for the future. And it's, again, not unlike last week, I'm wringing my hands here, and I'm thinking to myself, how do the Dodgers stay underneath the $197 million cap for the extra taxes, and get somebody at the trading deadline? And even if they do, who do they get? And who do they want? Who do they even want? And then I'll even push it out further, 100 yards further, and that is, okay, the season's over. The Dodgers win the division. They're eliminated in the first round, blah, blah, blah. We're all cutting our Thanksgiving turkey, and now all these guys are on the free agent market. Who do the Dodgers want? Do they want Bryce Harper?
I don't even know if Cole Hamels is a free agent or not, but that's the guy I would go after this year.
Who?
Cole Hamels.
Cole Hamels, definitely.
Cole Hamels, yeah.
Cole Hamels.
Definitely, yeah.
250 innings every year.
He's from Southern California. He's not a number one, but he's a number two pitcher. Left-handed, which is important, I think, in my mind. And
he could eat innings. Yeah.
And I think if I don't know if he's afraid or not, but let's say he's not, I think he'd resign here just because he's from here. So I think that would be a good move if they wouldn't have to give up the entire.
What was that again? I didn't hear that.
Cole, what? No, I'm just saying. I don't know if he's a free agent or not. I don't think so. But I would make a deal for Cole Hamels. Texas, of course, is out of it.
I like Cole Hamels, too.
If they're willing to give
He's a California kid, and he throws 250 innings a year.
Yeah, if they're willing to give up a couple of their farm guys. But, again, last year they did that with Darvish, and they blew it. So, are they going to do it again?
True.
I don't know.
True.
I mean,
Right.
Crapshoot. The reason I brought up Bryce Harper is because I don't want him.
You don't want Harper?
I don't want him. I don't want him. Nope. If he wasn't making what he's making, he'd be in the minor leagues right now. He's hitting like 217. He doesn't run out anything. He pops the ball up or he grounds to second base and he trots. He doesn't run out anything at all. Never saw him run hard in my life.
Roberts would
never. I never saw him run hard. Never. I've been watching him now for 5-6 years. Never saw him run hard, even when he was a kid. Never ran hard. Can't stand the guy. I don't want him. You know, it's going to be very interesting. You know, the Dodgers are going to have money this winter. I don't know how much they're going to have July 31st, but they're certainly going to have big bucks this winter, and we'll see what they do. We'll see what they do. I don't. As they sit right now, without Seager, without Tolles, and immediately right now without Kershaw, they do not, in my mind, they do not win the World Series this year. They don't even go to the World Series. Okay? That's the way I see it now. But who knows what happens July 31st. And I'm putting all my money on the Dodgers of 2019. I think they'll be really amazing in 2019.
You know,
again, I could be wrong. Who knows? I don't know.
Another problem that they're having, will have, in my mind, going into this season, I thought Andrew Tolles, if healthy, would be the starting left fielder.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now they've got Kemp and Peterson.
Right.
What I'm saying is, like we talked before about Jansen and Herrera, you can have too many guys playing the same position who are all very, very talented, and it ends up costing you a lot because they don't play well together. And you know, so what I'm saying to you is that Kemp has been surprising. Okay, so if he's for real, why get rid of him? I mean, you know, he's one of the best hitters in baseball.
Right.
He's playing hard. Why get rid of him? So I agree with you as far as the Harper thing is concerned. Right now, Roberts, when he sat down Bellinger, since then, I think the guys understood you better hustle. Okay, I don't think you bring somebody like Harper, if you did it correctly, that he doesn't always play hard. You can't do that because once you pay him the money, you have to play him. And what does Roberts
do? Sure you do.
Hustle. So
sure you do.
Situation for the manager. So they've got a lot of guys who can play a lot of positions, and they got a lot of guys who play in the same positions. I wouldn't make the deal either for Harper, and even at a much lesser price.
I wouldn't either.
Asking for it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him. But, you know, with all that being said, and I happen to agree with everything you said, Fred Wallen, but I would tell you this. In a closed room with nobody around to listen and no one that could quote me and no one that could hear me, if I'm Andrew Friedman, I'm saying anybody who would take Kemp tonight, I'm getting rid of him.
Wow. Why?
Very easily why. Very easily why. The money. Okay? If someone wants
so well.
If great. That's the imagine if he was hitting 220.
Yeah.
He'd be like a flagstone around your throat.
He's been carrying the
But but wait a minute. He's hitting 320. This is perfect. Try to get somebody interested in him. Get an American League team that needs a right-handed DH. Get rid of the guy and get rid of his salary because Tolles is going to heal.
Yeah.
Well, again, a guy lost 30. I think if you work hard and you try to prove yourself and you lose 20 or 30 pounds in the off season, and Kemp did that, I think he deserves a break. And as you said, he's hitting 320. He's one of the best hitters in baseball. I don't think he'd do that. Again, I know this is a ruthless game. I'm not questioning that. But I do think if somebody worked that hard, he wanted to get back here and prove that he can still play. I think he's proven that. And I love Tolles. So for what I've seen Tolles 2 years ago.
I do too, but I agree with you, Fred.
What I've seen Tolles 2 years ago, I think he'd be a leadoff man and could steal 40 bases, and that doesn't hurt.
Yeah.
I still don't think at this point Kemp is playing hard. He's playing well.
Yep.
He's willing to share time with Peterson. He hasn't caused any problems. I think they'd be making a mistake to get rid of him. That's just my humble opinion.
I think you're right. I feel the same way.
I'd get rid of him yesterday if I
really?
could. The right deal. The right deal. Not just drop him. Not just dump him. No way. He's leading the team in everything. Not just dump him. Make a smart deal and get him out of here. He's too old. He wasn't in the plan. He wasn't in the original plan. If no one gets hurt, he's sitting on the bench. He's causing problems, no matter if he's 30 pounds thinner or not. But he's not. Now he's hitting cleanup and he's hitting 326 or whatever, and he's driving in all kinds of runs, and he's happy as a pig in shit. Well, I want to know what happens when he misses the line drive in the ninth inning and they lose, and then he goes 0 for 4 with 4 strikeouts the next day. How's his attitude then in the clubhouse, on the bench, and on the field? He's making way too much money for what he does or what he can do. This is a freak of nature, what he's done so far. This is kind of freaky. I give him credit where credit is due. Got a new attitude so far. Okay, it's not even halfway through the season. Got a new weight. He's got a much lighter weight. He's hustling. He's producing. He's doing well. He still plays left field like he's on roller skates. But, you know, I give him the credit. But if I'm Andrew Friedman, if I can make a halfway decent deal for him, I make it, and I make it tonight.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it
this year or not till late this year. So now you've taken out a very valuable piece out of your lineup. It's not like Bowles play right now. So he's hurt. I mean, so the point is, why take a 326 hitter out of your lineup? And he's willing to share the time with Peterson. He's not making a big deal about it. And Peterson's getting a little center field and mostly left field. Kemp's getting left field. And if you're talking about attitude, okay, then you would have gotten rid of Puig 2 years ago. This year is better. I think you got to give people, their just due. I don't know if for real they've changed, but at least outwardly they've changed and not caused any grief. And listen, again, they were 10 games under 500 a month ago. 4 or 5 games over 500 as we speak. They played 14 games over 500 in the last month. Very few teams can say that.
Right.
Well, it certainly makes for an interesting argument. It makes for an interesting argument. I think I belong to the school of thought of Branch Rickey in getting rid of a player a year too early instead of a year too late. And with Kemp, it might be a matter of months, not a year. I for one, would get rid of him. But again, I underline it. Not just dump him for nothing. Just don't get rid of him. Work the best deal you can and use his spectacular statistics so far this year as the selling point. You know they're not going to last. Can you see Kemp here next year hitting 326, leading the team in RBIs?
Maybe.
Get serious. He might not even be playing a year from now, anywhere. Seriously.
Yeah, I mean, okay, he lost the 20 to 30 pounds. Maybe that was it. That's the reason he wasn't playing that well with Atlanta or San Diego. Okay, he's lost the 20 or 30 pounds. He's not going to be what he was 5-6 years ago. I'm giving you that. But I don't know if he can't hit 320 for the season. I think he can. I mean, he's doing nothing to show me that he can't. So, 20 or 30 pounds, I could lose 20 or 30 pounds. I think I would be doing things a lot quicker, a lot better, a lot faster. He did it. He took the time to get a trainer and lose the 20 or 30 pounds. Don't you give him credit for that?
I do give him credit for that.
Yeah,
I give him a lot of credit for that.
I do too. Yeah.
I give him a lot of credit for that. But I still get rid of him if I can on a good deal. Any halfway decent deal, he's gone.
Okay.
If I'm Andrew Friedman. And you can't tell me, no one can tell me that Andrew Friedman in his bedroom with the door shut and the phone off the hook doesn't say the same thing.
But then you're saying that nobody can change.
No. No, you can change. You can change. And like you said, it doesn't even matter if it's only on the outside that you change.
Right.
It doesn't even matter. Because if you're a good teammate in the clubhouse and you're faking it, at least you're a good teammate.
Yeah.
You can change. People can change. And believe it or not, I really think that Kemp has changed. But get rid of him. Now. Seriously. It can only go the wrong way. It's not going to get better. He's not going to go to 350. He's not going to, instead of driving in 92 runs, he's not going to drive in 132. He's not going to hit, it's not going to go the other way. He's not going to start making fantastic throws from left field or fantastic catches or whatever. That's not going to happen. The only change that can happen there is going to be on the negative side. And, the Dodgers are better, will be better, in my opinion, without him and with a healthy Toles. Now, I know Toles isn't healthy right now. So what I'm saying is they got to keep him for now. They got to keep him.
Right.
Thank God he's got the stats he's got. Okay? And whatever. I just don't, I'm a realist. You might think I'm a Debbie Downer, but I'm not. I'm a realist. And I think that a guy like Kershaw, who has a bad back for 3 years in a row, is going to have a bad back. That's it. He's going to have a bad back. He's not going to never have a bad back again going forward, getting older and older. His back is not going to all of a sudden clear up completely. He's going to have a perfect back, and he's going to win 20 games for the next 5 years. That's not going to happen.
True.
They should really get rid of him, too, if the deal is right. If the deal is right, you got to think of the future.
There we totally.
If you think of the present, you're going to wind up like the Detroit Tigers.
There we totally
with Cabrera and that.
Totally disagree.
The only smart move the Tigers ever made in the last 3 years was getting rid of Verlander, because with Verlander they still suck.
Yeah,
Verlander. With Verlander they still suck, but they got kids from Houston, so in a few years they're going to be really good.
If Kershaw wants to,
those kids.
If Kershaw wants to stay in L.A., you keep him forever. He is the focal point. He is the good story. He is the story in the off season. His wife and Clayton go to Africa and Asia to help the poor.
Right.
He is
right.
Forget if he only wins 12 games, you keep Kershaw if he wants to stay. I'm not saying he does. He's from Texas. He may want to play for Houston or Texas, but I'm saying he wants to stay. You keep him his entire career.
You keep him.
He's a Hall of Famer, not just on the field but off the field.
Off the field too. He's actually a wonderful guy.
Oh, he's great off the field.
He's terrific.
He's one of the best off the field.
Yeah, he sure is.
He's one of the best off the field. But just remember, the Red Sox got rid of Ruth. The Yankees got rid of Ruth.
Yeah.
The Mets got rid of Seaver.
They're not good, but Ruth didn't go to Asia and Europe and Africa in the off season.
No.
Help the poor.
No.
Well, if the Dodgers do poorly, next year thereafter, the story still can be they have one of the nicest and best players in baseball in Clayton Kershaw. That's always going to be a positive story. This is
absolutely
the second biggest media market.
Well, I'll tell you what, and I'm not, don't get mad at me, Fred.
No.
Don't lose it. Don't get mad, but I'm going to make a statement. I'm 71, and I'm soon to be 72.
Right.
I don't want to look back 3, 4, 5, 6 years from now, if I'm still alive, and say the Dodgers sucked, but Kershaw is such a great humanitarian. I would rather they trade him for 5 great young kids and they win 3 World Series in the next 6 years. Kershaw can be a great humanitarian as a Yankee or a Red Sox or whatever. You know what? That's the way I feel. I'm looking at the laundry. I'm looking at the Dodger uniform. I'm looking at the Dodger uniform shirt that says emblazoned Dodgers on it since 1938.
Ron, break the tie.
Huh?
Ron, break the tie.
Break the tie.
I say keep them. I say keep them. Right. That's what I say.
That's what makes it great, fellas. That's what makes
right.
it great. That's what makes it great.
Tonight.
I want to thank both of you guys for another wonderful show. And
it was a great show.
I know. It's never boring. It's never boring.
We have fun.
And we had a good
Glad
time.
you're
I
there,
did
Fred,
anyway.
Peter, always good.
I had a really good time. Fred, thank you very much. Fred Wallen for joining us again. And you will be here next week again. And Ronnie Rabinovitz, thank you so much for joining us again. My name is Peter Trunk, and I'd like for the Ralph Tycho's Comfortably Zoned Radio to bid everybody a good night, and thanks for listening. We had a great time. Good night, fellas.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye-bye.